Okay. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in the continuation of last class, that is laboratory diagnosis of Taenia species. So first thing is, what are the morphological features of cystodes? Okay, so among that, what are the differences between pseudophilidians and cyclophilidians? Okay, in the cyclophilidians, rostellum, hooklets, and four suckers will be there. That is the common feature between all cyclophilidians. Okay, but there is a difference between Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. That is presence of rostellum and hooklets will be presence of these hooklets and rostellum will be in the Taenia solium, but there are no hooklets in the Taenia saginata. Okay, that is the difference between two species. These are the other differences between pseudophilidians and cyclophilidians. And when coming to this Taenia species, this is the brief introduction today. Okay, please follow. Please follow this one. Okay, so for all Taenia species, definitive host is man. Okay, and intermediate host for Taenia saginata is cattle, and in case of Taenia solium is pig, and Taenia saginata is cattle. Okay, and when you see what are the organs affected by the Taenia species, so intestine, mainly intestine, because they reside in the small intestine of a human. That is why it can cause intestinal teniasis. But in case of Taenia solium, in addition to intestinal teniasis, there is a disease called cysticercosis. Okay, this is due to larva in the other organs like muscles, central nervous system, either ocular or subcutaneous place. So because of these larvae, it is called as cysticercosis. Okay, so this is the epidemiology, and you have to remember in the sequence what is the introduction and habit. Habit are where it lives. Adult worm resides in the intestine. That is why primary disease is intestinal teniasis. Okay, intestinal disease. And coming to this larva of Taenia solium usually resides in the muscles, brain, and subcutaneous places, and sometimes it can be in the eyes. Okay, because of these cystic lesions, there is a local functional deformity. Okay, so next, after habitat, this is the morphological appearance. One is adult worm. When you describe this one, it is very long, flat worm. That is why it comes under platyhelminthes. Platy means flat, flat in nature. Okay, and this is segmented. Okay, and demarcated in head, scolex, and strobila. Okay, so with the help of these suckers, it holds the small intestine mucosal wall. So, and remaining body will be hanging in the intestine. Okay, and next eggs and larvae are there. So there is some morphological differences between Taenia solium and saginata. And first one is length. So much more longer. In case of Taenia saginata, it is much more longer, that is measuring 4 to 6 meters, and in case of Taenia solium, 2 to 4 meters will be there. Okay, and one more Taenia saginata, if you see this diagram, it is quadrangular and large head will be there, and 4 suckers you can see here. With the with help of these suckers, it can hold the intestinal mucosal wall, and there is no rostellum or hooklets. If you see Taenia solium, you can see here it's a bulged part. This is called rostellum, and next hooklets are there. Okay, that is why suppose sometimes patient may complain of occasional bleeding in the stools with this hooklets. And next one, neck is longer in case of Taenia saccinata and shorter in Taenia solea. And eggs, okay. Suppose in your practicals, examiner may give you this exercise like Taenia solium, egg identification. Then you have to write this is round and 30 to 40 microns in size. This is almost half size of the Ascaris eggs, because that is nearly measuring about 70 microns in case of Ascaris lumbricoides, which is more common in which is more common in intestinal infection. And it has two layers, and inside there is a embryonated egg. Otherwise you can say it is as you can say oncosphere. Okay. Why it is oncosphere? There are some hooklets. Okay, if you see there are some six in numbers, tiny things will be there. That is why you can call it as a oncosphere. Okay, and larva or Cysticercus cellulose in case of Taenia solium, and Cysticercus bovis in case of Taenia saccinata. Okay, so in case of cysticercosis, you can find cysticercus cyst parts in various organs like skin, subcutaneous tissue or central nervous system, eyes. Okay, so in these parts you can identify this one. Okay, CT and MRI helps in identification of this cysticercus larvae. Okay, these are the other differences. And today's just one more thing, I am repeating this one. Life cycle is more important. Okay, just intermediate host differs. In case of Taenia saccinata, cattle is the intermediate host. In case of Taenia solium, pig is the intermediate host. Okay, but route of infection or mode of infection is same for both. That is, man acquires the infection by ingestion of undercooked meat or undercooked beef. Okay, so after ingestion, this invaginated scolex exvaginates, and this holds the intestine. From here, it develops into the adult worm. So after 2 weeks, it lays the eggs. Those are embryonated eggs. Okay, so and embryonated eggs, these eggs are usually released into the stools. Okay, so from here usually gross will be the contaminated, okay, with these eggs. When cattle ingest this grass or so this oncosphere enters the intestine of cattle. From here with the help of these spines, okay, with the help of these spines, it penetrates the intestinal wall and reaches the skeletal muscle of cattle. From here, it forms the Cysticercus bovis. Okay, so man acquires the infection by ingestion of this undercooked beef. Definitely, he will get the intestinal teniasis disease. Okay, this is the same thing, but in addition to that, two more routes are there. That is, one external auto-infection and other one internal auto-infection will be there. Okay, internal means eggs are thrown back to stomach and they'll get penetrates the usually it penetrates the intestinal wall of the human and reaches the subcutaneous tissues and various organs. There it forms the cysticercosis. This is internal auto-infection. External means because of unhygienic personal habits like contaminated hands, keeping in mouth. Okay, this is the other mode of infection. And next one is ingestion of contaminated food or water with the eggs. Okay, these three will may cause or may lead to the cysticercosis. So these are the differences between larvae between Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. In case of Cysticercosis circus bovis, it is small cyst will be there measuring about 6 to 9 mm and rod and little bit beige white bladder like worms, and invaginated scolex do not contain any hooklets. Okay, this is Cysticercus bovis. In case of Cysticercus in man, measuring about 0.5 to 1.5 centimeters, usually spherical, but yellowish white in color will be there. And the outer bladder sac usually contains the vesicular fluid, and inner chamber scolex will be there, which contains the hooklets. Okay. And coming to this laboratory diagnosis, today's main part. Okay. So from here, first one, actually it causes two diseases. All of you know, intestinal teniasis and other one, cysticercosis. First, we look into the intestinal teniasis. Okay, when intestine is affected, what is the sample we require to diagnose? One is stool sample. Okay, after taking the stool sample, depending on the number of eggs, we can identify. If it is high, definitely we can easily identify this one. Okay, and if it is low, definitely we may miss or we can diagnose. Both chances are there. Okay, suppose eggs are very less in the stool sample, then we have to go for stool concentration methods. Okay, either formalin treated or we have to go for salt flotation techniques. These are the stool concentration methods which yields better egg identity. Okay, so this is the morphological appearance of egg, which is around and 30 to 40 microns in size, and which is double layered. And if you see embryo, you can see 3 pairs of hooklets. Okay, and radiating striae will be there between outer layer and inner layer. Okay, this is the morphological appearance of egg. Suppose if you examine macroscopically in stool, you can find some segments, tinea segments. Okay, gravid proglatids will be released into the stool. Okay, if you examine under the microscope, these are the differentiating points between these segments. In case of Taenia saginata, you can see more number of lateral branches in uterus. That is 15 to 20 branches will be there. In case of Taenia solium, less lateral branches, that is 7 to 13 lateral branches will be there. And if you examine ovary, and only 2 ovaries will be there in case of Taenia saginata. In case of Taenia solium, 2 to 3 lobes will be there with accessory lobe. And testis number also more in case of Taenia saginata. In case of Taenia solium, very less. Okay. And vaginal sphincter will be present in the, if you see here, it is a vaginal sphincter. Okay. So this is present in Taenia saginata and absent in Taenia solium. Okay. So these are the differentiating points between like the macroscopic examination of the stool sample. And what are the other laboratory diagnosis? Culture is useful here? No, we cannot do for any nematodes. Like for parasitic, only for protozoa we do culture, but not for other parasites. Okay. Then serological diagnosis, definitely it helps. Okay. One is by identifying specific antigen detection in the stool sample. This can be done by ELISA technique. Okay, ELISA helps to identify the Taenia specific antigen. Okay, so what are the advantages of ELISA? That is, this is more sensitive than stool examination. That is why we can identify carriers. Okay, we can identify the carriers. But here, this specific antigen is more common between, this is sharing between Taenia solium and saginata. That is why we cannot differentiate both the ones. Okay, just we can trace out the carriers by using ELISA technique. And other one, we can detect antibody also in the serum. What are the methods to identify antibodies? One is precipitation, agglutination, and complement fixation method. And the other one, ELISA also helps in detection of antibody. Okay, so what is the use of detection of antibody in the serum? Is there any advantage? No. We can identify whether person is infected or immune to the Taenia infection or not. Then what is the limitation? We cannot differentiate any present or past infection by doing this precipitation and agglutination, complement fixation, and ELISA method. Okay, and other newer advanced, that is immunoblot technique also is there, that is specific for Taenia solium, and it is more sensitive, that is 95% sensitive and 100% specific. Okay, and so latest modalities of detection of this Taenia infection is, one is by DNA probing on polymerase chain reaction. By doing DNA probing, we can differentiate what are the Taenia species, we can know the species of Taenia infection. Okay. And next, after intestinal teniasis, second one is cysticercosis. Okay. Are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So second one is cysticercosis. How do you diagnose this one? So instead of doing sampling, okay, instead of going to microscopy, first thing is radio diagnosis, much more important. That is either CT scan or MRI scan. Both detects the hypodense areas, that is a cysticercle. Okay, cysticercus ఎలా చూపిస్తుందండి? It is a hypodense area, and other one hyperdense area inside the vesicle. If hooklets are there, you can see hyperdense areas. Okay, here you can see first hypodense area, that is representing cyst. Okay, and inside that there is a hyperdense area that shows the scolex, that is because of the hooklets. Okay, mainly because of the scolex that shows the hyperdense area. Okay, this is the diagnosis. And other modality is important to diagnose this cysticercosis. One is by identifying the antigen detection, that is by ELISA. Okay, here we use only monoclonal Taenia solium antibodies. Okay, because this cysticercosis takes place after over a period of years. After or a period of years, it shows cysticercosis will be there. So at that time, antigen can be there or cannot be there. That is why sometimes if antigen is negative for that one, we cannot rule out any cysticercosis. Okay, that is why primary modality is CT or MRI. Okay, so after that you can go for histopathology. If you do histopathology, you can detect this cysticercosis usually will be present in the muscles, eyes, and subcutaneous tissues. So for this, we can go for biopsy following the surgical removal of this cyst. Okay, or otherwise you can go for FNAC of a cyst. Okay, FNAC of the cyst followed by microscopic demonstration of a capsule. So this is the microscopic capsule. Okay, so this is the cyst. And this is the other criteria usually proposed by neurocysticercosis in endemic area. So this is mainly based on the clinical symptoms and imaging like CT or MRI scan, and epidemiological criteria will be there. So with the help of this Ibretto diagnostic criteria, we can diagnose neurocysticercosis. Then what is the treatment? For the intestinal teniasis, drug of choice is praziquantel. Okay, so single dose 10 milligrams per kg body weight is highly effective. Other alternative drug is niclosamide. Okay, this is effective and but not using widely. Okay, in case of cysticercosis, other anti-parasitic drugs for brain parenchymal lesions, we can go for albendazole, that is 15 milligrams per kg per day, and for 8 to 28 days. Okay, and other praziquantel also useful for these people, but doses will be more 50 to 100 milligrams per kg body weight daily in dividing doses. This is for 15 to 30 days, that is for period of 1 year. Okay. Suppose for multiple subarachnoid cysticercae are there, so for them long-term treatment is necessary. Okay. And next one, surgery. Suppose open craniotomy to remove this cysticercus is rarely required, nowadays not doing, and surgery is indicated in case of ocular, because if cyst size is increased, there is a functional deformity, there will be functional deformity. For that purpose, we can go for surgery. This is for ocular and spinal ventricular lesions. Okay, for this surgery is indicated, followed by, are you able to follow this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and next, how do you prevent this one? Prevention is better than cure. That's why for intestinal teniasis, properly cooked either beef or pork, if they have to go for adequate cooking and refrigeration or salting for the last long periods, or freezing at minus 10 degrees Celsius for 9 days. Definitely these larvae will be killed. Okay, and next, effective fecal disposal, that is by sanitary toilets will be should be available to the general population. So effective fecal disposal to prevent this infection for the cattle and pigs. And in case of cysticercosis, first thing, to prevent this external auto-infection, good personal hygiene is important to prevent this auto-infection with the eggs. And next one, effective fecal disposal to prevent this contamination of the food and water with the eggs. And next, suppose if any like eggs are identifying in the stool sample, definitely have to go for treatment and prevention of the human intestinal infection. Okay, so first thing, how to diagnose? What are the samples required? One is for the intestinal teniasis, we have to go for stool examination. Macroscopically, is there segments or there or visible or not, present or absent? Okay, if present, microscopically how they are appearing, how it is suggesting, like tinea saginata or tinea solea. Okay, and next microscopically for the stool sample, okay, we have to go for bed mount. We can see under the 10x and 40x objective lens. So if you see if eggs are there, how it is, how those are looking like. One is double layered. What is the size? That is 30 to 40 microns. And is there any oncosphere? Okay. Suppose if you are not identifying but symptoms are there, or in case of epilepsy, in case of neurocysticercosis, then you have to go for stool concentration methods. Okay, either by sedimentation or flotation methods. So because of that, you can identify the eggs. And next one, culture is not useful here. Keep it away. And serological methods. Serological methods, one for antigen detection method and antibody detection method. Which is more important? Antigen detection method is more important. Okay. Why antibody technique is not important? Because we cannot differentiate between past infection and present infection. Okay. That is why we have to go for antigen detection. So with the help of this, even we cannot differentiate between either tinea saginata or tinea solium infection, we can go for treatment if it is positive. Okay. But this will be useful to trace out the carriers of tinea infection. Okay. We can trace out carriers of tinea infection. In case of cysticercosis, first modality of investigation, first modality is CT or MRI. Okay, CT or MRI. From here, we can identify some hypodense areas. Within that, there will be a hyperdense areas. Hyperdense areas represent spolates. Okay. And next one is, we can go for antigen detection, that is by ELISA or complement fixation or latex agglutination and precipitation methods. Okay, all of these helpful to identify the antigen. Okay, and next, after identification, what is the treatment? What is the treatment? For intestinal teniasis, praziquantel is the main drug of choice. Here we use 10 milligrams per kg body weight. This is highly effective. If it is not suitable to the patient, then we can go for niclosamide, which is also equally effective as praziquantel. Okay. Suppose patient is suffering with cysticercosis. If brain parenchymal lesion is there, we can go for albendazole, that is 15 milligrams per kg body weight, that is for 1 month period. Okay. We can go for praziquantel. This is 5 times double the dose of intestinal teniasis. Praziquantel ఎంత వాడుతున్నామంటే 10 milligrams per kg body weight. But in case of cysticercosis, we use 50 milligrams per kg body weight in dividing doses for 30 days period. If multiple lesions are there, then longer periods of treatment is necessary. Okay. Suppose if it is situated in subcutaneously, we can go for surgical removal, or ocular, spinal or ventricular lesions are there, then we can go for surgical evacuation. Okay, these are the lesions, but while removing, this vesicular fluid should not be ruptured or released into the surrounding tissues, because this shows the irreversible inflammatory damage will be there. Okay, while removing, and that is why we have to be very precautious. Okay, so prevention is better than cure. First thing, for intestinal teniasis, adequately cooking of beef or pork if they have, and refrigeration of salting for the longer periods, or freezing at -10 degrees Celsius for 9 days period, that is effective for larvae killing or larvae cyst killing. Okay, and next one, effective fecal disposal to prevent the infection to the pigs and cattle. Okay, and for cysticercosis, good personal hygiene is very important, and effective fecal disposal and treatment is first and foremost. Okay, are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. And next, how are you going to read? Are you feeling happy at home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Uh, what is your name, Nana? Okay, first please take attendance. See, for all parasitic classes, uh, very happy to listen these classes. But when you are writing your exams, definitely mode of infection all will be confused, and you will write one for other one. Okay. So make one or prepare one table for all parasitic infections. Okay. First one is, what is the definitive host? What is the intermediate host? Next one is, what is the mode of infection? And draw the life cycle. What are the diseases caused by each parasite? So you prepare one big chart and paste in your room. Okay. If you daily see that one, definitely you can easily identify and you can easily remember this one. Okay. Okay, please take attendance.
Ma'am, attendance is taken, ma'am, already.
Okay, Nana. Thank you, Nana. I'll close this.